A crucial twist tonight in the nationwide hunt for that adorable 4-year-old Ohio girl, Haylee Donovan, the precious child taken by her mother and her mother's Tier 3 sex offender boyfriend, Robbie Potter. Tonight, we learn little Haylee Donovan's grandmother has just been granted emergency custody of that child. That means authorities can now issue an Amber Alert. But they still haven't done it yet. Isn't that something that should have happened a lot sooner, given that they're on the run? Haylee's grandmother publicly pleaded and begged her daughter to turn herself in on Nancy Grace.
Haylee, if you can hear me and see me, have somebody call me and let me know you're at least all right. And Candace, please don't be doing this, and turn yourself in so you guys are both safe. We'll get help or whatever we need to do. Just please. We need you to call in so you're safe.
Look at that beautiful child and that desperate grandmother hoping her adorable granddaughter is still safe as shocking new information has emerged that Potter has at least once shared a bed with little Haylee. Remember, he is a convicted sex offender whose crime reportedly involved young girls. And U.S. Marshals release a photo of the lightning bolts that are likely on the back of the Chevy truck this trio is said to be in. Take a look at it. That's what we're looking for. Plus, new details revealed on how sex offender Robbie Potter was able to escape from a halfway house and flee with little Haylee and her mom, Candace. Straight out to my expert panel, Mark Haylee, former prosecutor and criminal defense attorney, Pat Brown, a criminal profiler and CEO of the Pat Brown Criminal Profiling Agency. But first, by phone, Pete Elliott, a U.S. Marshal on this case. Marshal, thank you for joining us. I know you are very busy working around the clock. What is the very latest?
Well, thanks for having me on, and thanks for continuing to get the word out for us.
Absolutely.
We've got hundreds and hundreds of leads. We're focusing in a few areas, but we still don't have that one lead that we need. We continue to ask for the public's assistance. Any information out there, call our hotline at 1-866-4-WANTED. We've also, I'd like to announce, we started a confidential tip line, a text message, and you can text 84741. The keyword Potter.
Now, I hear
847-411 and the keyword Potter, P-O-T-T-E-R.
Wow, that's high-tech stuff that you're doing to try to find this trio. I understand that you're also putting up billboards. Tell us about that.
This young girl back safely.
Yeah, what about the billboards?
Got them up. We partnered with Clear Channel today, this morning, in about 7 different states, including Florida, New Mexico, California, and a number of different states. Clear Channel put up digital billboards for us, so their faces, that vehicle, they're up in that billboard now.
All right, and I hear you have a message to deliver to anybody who might be harboring this guy and the mom and daughter.
Yeah, the bottom line is we think there are people out there that know where they are. And, wow, you know, we just want to send a clear message. If anything happens to that little girl or any other child, because somebody didn't come forward and turn these individuals in, you're going to have to not only live with yourself for the rest of your life in prison, you're going to have to live with us and law enforcement.
Well, Marshal, I thank you so much for your time. I know you want to get back to work to try to find this child and her mom, and let's pray that the child is found safe and sound. Thank you, sir, for all your hard work. I want to go to Pat Brown, criminal profiler. As the days turn into weeks and we still haven't found this mother and child with this man who was convicted of sex offense with young children, the fact that we're hearing now that a friend of Candace has spotted them all together in bed just scares the wits out of me.
It's a little bit creepy, isn't it, Jane? But I'll tell you what scares me even more is that the possibility that Potter, somewhere along the way, will decide that these two are actually a liability to him, that he doesn't want to be seen as a threesome, that they're difficult to take care of, even if maybe the little girl's fun. So he might want to eliminate them and just go off on his own. So that is really scary to me, and I'm worried that maybe that is why we haven't heard from Candace.
Now, Mark Eiglarsh, the grandmother now has official custody. Why don't they immediately issue an Amber Alert? The reason they couldn't do it initially is that the mother left voluntarily with the child. Well, now, the grandmother, who has custody, is saying, you come back home. The mom isn't coming back home. So that means, in my opinion, you could argue it's an abduction, and they should issue Amber Alerts.
I'd make that same argument. There's somebody who knows why they're not doing it, but for what I've heard, They're doing everything that's comparable to an Amber Alert. They're actually putting it up on billboards. They're going around letting everybody know. One thing I wanted to add is that if anyone's out there helping these people, they could also face criminal charges for aiding and abetting what we now know is someone who clearly escaped from custody. He was supposed to be in a halfway house. So that's something to consider.
Pat Brown, if this mother and child are somehow out there with this man, and what would you advise them? Let's say they're sitting in some motel and they're watching TV and they're watching us right now. What would you say to her about how to deal with the situation? Because at this point, even though she left voluntarily on a camping trip, she might be being held against her will.
And that is a real possibility, Jane. We look at the possibility in the very beginning that she thought this guy really wasn't that high-level sex offender. But maybe she bought this story that even her brother said that this guy, oh, it was just statutory rape. And so she said, sure. After all, everybody she hangs around is kind of criminal. So she might have bought that. But then when she got on the road with this guy, she might have found out later it was a lot worse. And now she's trapped.
Oh, boy. Well, it's an ugly situation. We're going to stay on top of the story. Thank you, fantastic panel. Outrage, coast to coast.